it's the end of the year, and as the end of the year approaches, what come with it but holidays? And what come with holidays? Family. And what comes with family, like all of your stuff gets triggered. I can only speak for myself, but I find that to be true for most people, and they get stressed out. And also I think it's because it's the end of the year, we start thinking about all the things you may or may not have accomplished this year, and then you start to get down on yourself because you had such high hopes for yourself in January. It's just a slice time of your life. It doesn't matter that it hasn't yet happened, but we use this coming season to feel like, oh my God, is it ever going to happen? And I feel like I'm maybe in the same place that I was a year ago. And so you start to get down on yourself, right? Sound familiar? So I think this is important in the next few weeks, especially when it can be stressful, because the holidays can be stressful for people, is you must work on more self-love. It's true. You have to work on more self-love. When you get triggered, when you're faced with obstacles, when you get rejected, when you're feeling like things aren't going your way, when you're being tested, when you feel like giving up all hope, when you wonder like, is the business ever going to open and break for you? You must come back to self-love. And this is a very difficult concept to grasp. The more I was thinking about it, for twofold. Number one is our society's understanding of self-love is, at one level, I think they think it's all like, kumbaya. And that's not it at all. It's like, it is the journey we're on here on this planet. It's like, you know, what you resist persists, is what I say in day one of acting classes here at the studio. And so that's your own journey. And what I also began to think about is like, it's so ridiculous to think that self-love is like anything other than brass tacks being. And that's really the call. Think about acting. The art of acting that radiates outwardly is your own love of self shared with other human beings. That is the highest calling of love that I can think about. I mean, it's not the highest, but it's one of the highest forms of expression through art. So there's nothing mamby-pamby about it. The other thing that I think about, that I was thinking about when I think about that term self-love is, you know, especially I'm a Capricorn, so in my 20s, ain't nobody got time for that. I did not have time. I did not have time for self-love. I didn't even, what? No, what? No way. You just keep driving through it. You just keep moving forward. You keep taking action and keep, yeah. No, it's going to catch up with you. So, okay, well, what is this thing about? Well, the thing about self-love is our society, I guess the third point is our understanding about self-love is being perpetuated and generated by the external, the physical. And that's what Madison Avenue spends billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of genius, billions, marketing and advertising doing, that we equate the measurement of love through things. I've lectured about it. But I think it's very scary because if you're not conscious or awake enough, first of all, it's untenable, it's unattainable, it's ephemeral because you yourself are always changing. It's not real. So therefore, ergo, it's destructive. Because if you're basing self-love on things that aren't real, what do you have left to stand on? So I'll remind you of some of these things that we're taught to equate love through. Youth, beauty, hot bodies, looking really beautiful, great clothes, success, popularity, pictures on magazines, TV shows, movie premieres. All those things are great, but they don't generate the inner. So where does that leave us? There's really one thing we have to work on, and that is self-acceptance. That's it. Self-acceptance. You have nothing to prove. Nobody has anything to prove to anyone, less alone themselves. You already are okay as you are. That's the first beginning of self-love. And I think the other thing about self-acceptance that this is really tricky here, it's almost like a Mr. Miyagi lesson. It's very counterintuitive. Is that it's hard to grasp because we have a hard time loving those parts of ourselves we don't love. So self-acceptance requires you to love those parts of yourself you don't love. Meaning those parts that you keep hidden, you hide from. You don't share, you don't, they stay locked in the recesses of your mind. To go outward with them, you equate with, I'm going to be rejected or abandoned or I will be shunned. And so they remain here, which keeps you disconnected from the wholeness. So think about it this way. The science of it. If you take a mirror and you break a mirror and it's shattered into 1,000 parts, and you just take up one fragment, a splinter of it, well, what do you have? Well, maybe you're looking at yourself in this tiny reflection, but you equate the splinter to be those parts of yourself that you don't like. So it's a disconnect from the whole. No, it's not. It's like a hologram. The whole is contained within the part, and the part is contained within the whole. So those parts that you are not self-accepting of are parts that are necessary for you to be holy in self-love. I love it. I just need to practice it more. You see, it's hard, but it's so beautiful, but counterintuitive, but not. And let me just end with this one thing to remind you of, because it happened in this class, and I thought that is the most beautiful example of this lesson. There was a student in this class, like a month or so ago, who was really working through some stuff. He's not here right now because he's filming, and I remember in the talk back, I made him start to talk about something just personal for him. And if you remember, he said when he was a kid, he used to be bullied. And then when he got a little bit older, but still like a kid, he began to bully other people in a very aggressive way. Like in a way that you could see when he talked about it, he had a lot of shame around, right? And then he went on to say that he feels like a hypocrite and not real or inauthentic. He used the word hypocrite. Because now that he's well known or famous, he does a lot of charitable work, and he feels like here he is doing charitable work, and who is he to do that? Because he himself was a bully. And I said to him, it's not in spite of that you have become charitable, it's because of it. It's because of that quality that we don't want to self-accept that has actually made him who he is. So you have to come to terms with peace and love with those parts. They're there for a reason, people. And that's also a beautiful way to see that everything is in order. Everything is okay. Instead of casting it out. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I really love giving that lesson. I don't know why I feel like I've been crying a lot these last few weeks, but that is really what it's about. Maybe that's a lesson at my core level that I'm really working on. I always teach what I most need to keep remembering. So you're doing amazing with it. I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight. Just processes. Just gentle processes, gentle reminders.
Yeah,